if you can actually discuss the role of the priority date in the I-140 process, and how does retrogression impact the priority date, and what strategies can applicants use to, manage this? You're muted again. Sorry.
I- I've got some good COVID stories on like strategies to manage it, just kind of like based on what I saw at that time. So in terms of the priority date, right? The priority date is linked to the date that your perm was submitted online, right? And when your priority date is current, as it is for most countries, probably 90% of the countries out there in the world, except for China and India, it gives you the ability to move on to the next step of the process, which is actually filing for your 485 adjustment of status application, right? That is what allows you to get your green card. I think the 485 application is probably a subject of another webinar, right? Another session. But it's really, the priority date is your ticket to get in line to apply for the GC. And as many of you know, priority dates for China, India are currently trailing behind by 10, 11 plus years, right? So what that means is that there is a line of thousands of people ahead of you from those countries that are waiting for an opportunity to just apply for their 485 application and get their green card. And once their priority dates do become current, not only are they eligible to apply, but they can also actually physically receive the green card, right? And that's important because, as many of you know, during COVID, specifically in 2020, a lot of the embassies worldwide they had shut down, right? And so what happened around October 2020 was that there was a lot of spillover into the employment-based categories in terms of green cards, right? And so what we saw was, really something that was unprecedented, which is that priority dates, sped up by 3, 4 years in the EB2, EB3 categories, almost up until I think 2014 for one of them, for EB3, I believe. And what that allowed people to do was apply for their green cards, right? Everybody got in line and they were like, I can apply for my 45 application now, because my priority date is current as per the final action date chart or the date of filing chart. And so you had a lot of people that went ahead and submitted their applications. And then in about 2022, what happened once the world was getting back to normal, you had priority dates that retrogressed back to 2011, back to 2012 um, dates, which is where they were prior to October 2020. So even though people apply for their 45 applications, if your priority date wasn't current as per the final action date chart, great, you have a pending 45 application, but you're going to end up waiting again now to get your green card until your priority date becomes current, right? And so what I've seen a lot of people do over this last year is because the EB1 category tends to move along much faster, right? Makes sense why, because it just has a higher threshold for qualification. So you have fewer people that qualify for it. There are a lot of applicants out there from EB2, EB3 who are trying to jump ship to EB1 because their priority date of 2013, 2014, which was current for a couple of years, but they never got their green card. It was almost like they saw the light at the end of the tunnel, but the door was shut on them. They thought to themselves, well, why not try for the EB1 category? Because I know I'm current there, right? My priority date, I can port it. I know I'm going to be current there. So that's what they're trying to do now, and I've had several clients, try to jump ship to EB1 in terms of, having faced those retrogressions, right? Some of the strategies, that people tend to use, when it comes to EB2 or EB3, is either going to EB1, right? Or downgrading EB2 applications to EB3, right? So sometimes it's almost better to attempt to file in the EB2 category because what it allows you to do, and like I saw several clients of mine do in 2020, was they downgraded their EB2 application to EB3, right? EB3 has a lower threshold. So if you've already met the EB2 threshold, you automatically qualify for the EB3 as well. So a lot of people were filing downgrade applications saying, hey, EB3 is moving along faster. So I'm just going to downgrade my EB2 to EB3 and see if that's a strategy I can implement, to try and get my green card in a much more, efficient, fashion, or faster than if I were to just stay in the EB2. Yeah. Now, funnily enough, right? Because we had so many people downgrade from EB2 to EB3, EB3 got backlogged, and then you had people trying to go back to EB2. So it was a messy couple of years for green card filings, but those are some of the strategies you can implement, right? Go for EB2 because if you need to, you can always downgrade to EB3. And then also consider an EB1 filing, right? I've had several clients who felt like they didn't qualify for EB1, but they had the body of work to get approved for EB1. And in fact, they did, right? Software engineers, data engineers, product managers, for example. So it is worth looking into because, one of my clients just last week, he got approved in EB1 back in November. He applied for his green card 485 application, him and his spouse, in December. And within a month and a half, he got his green card approved. Like it was the fastest turnaround. I was like, wow, USCIS is actually working. So it can happen very quickly, depending on the strategy you implement.
Wow, I mean, thank you so much for all those examples as well, and some strategies you can use actually, friends. So I hope you can get there as soon as possible for your I-140 process.
Are you an IT consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry, exceptional employee benefits, highly rated by our employees, global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us on the number 833-412-8472 or mail us at support@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.